Could some big moves be coming here for the Philadelphia 76ers before the start of this upcoming season? NBA Insider Jake Fischer, formerly of Yahoo Sports, now does some work with Bleacher Report, has heard and reported that Philadelphia is shopping both Kelly Oubre Jr. and Andre Drummond and have been shopping them for quite a while. And it all kind of connects to Quentin Grimes, who, of course, we know we're still waiting on him to re-sign with the 76ers. He posted this image on his Instagram story here this morning on Monday, September 8th. Are things starting to move in a direction where we could see Grimes back with Philly? We'll get to all that here on today's show. But real quick, before we do, we are continuing our race to 25,000 subscribers between us here at 76ers Now and my good friend and coworker Nick Roloff over at the Miami Heat Report. They were a little bit more than 1,000 subs ahead of us not too long ago. Now, we have caught up just a little bit, but still a pretty big deficit. So, we got to catch up if you want Sixers coverage almost every single day, all year long. I encourage you to hit that sub button. And with that, let's get to today's show. So, as I mentioned off the rip, we could see a couple trades possibly coming down here in the next few weeks with Philadelphia regarding both Kelly Oubre Jr. and or Andre Drummond, potentially one trade involving both of them. Jake Fischer, pretty tapped in with what goes on in the NBA, had this to say the other day. There has been buzz all summer long about the Sixers looking to potentially move one of, if not both, Andre Drummond and Kelly Oubre. If they are able to find a deal for one of those two guys, that would open up some more wiggle room for Philadelphia to pay Grimes a little bit more. So we can see here, it's really financially motivated, right? Especially, I think, for Kelly Oubre. Drummond, I don't think he'd really be much a part of this team anyways, but moving Oubre as well, Sixers are financially motivated here because they want to get a deal done with Grimes while also staying under the first apron. Plus, both of these guys are on expiring contracts, which when you look around the league, right, teams are more likely to take in expiring deals in a potential trade when you're trying to shed salary because then that salary goes off the books for the team next season. Anyways, Oubre at about $8.3 million, Drummond at about $5 million. So you see right there, quick math, about $13 million the Sixers could clear up if they do trade both of these guys and get nothing in terms of player salary in return. Now, as of this moment, Philadelphia is about $11 million below the first apron. That, of course, is without factoring in whatever contract Grimes does end up getting. So, if you think Grimes gets somewhere in that $12 to $15, $16 million range, you need to clear up some money if the Sixers want to maintain flexibility below that first apron. I think trading Drummond alone could get you there. Now, why do you want to be below that apron, right? Why does Philadelphia so desperately want to be below that first apron that they're willing to give away players for nothing? Well, look, the aprons are very restricted. I'm not going to go through every single restriction for the first and second apron. You can see there's a ton of them on your screen right now, but basically it becomes a lot more difficult to build your team and, especially at the trade deadline, make moves later on in the season, in mid-season, if you are in those aprons. If you're not in those aprons, you have a little bit more flexibility, and we know Daryl Morey and the Sixers love to have that kind of flexibility. So let's talk about each of these guys really quick, starting with Andre Drummond, who I think is much more likely to get dealt. And if we're talking about a straight up salary dump, I have no issue with trading away Andre Drummond and his $5 million salary if that does mean being able to clear up some more space to get Quentin Grimes to sign here in the coming weeks. Look, Andre Drummond, his first stint with Philly was pretty good. This second stint this past season, the counting stats don't look awful. Honestly, I was a little bit surprised when I went back and looked again today at what his numbers were last year. They don't look too bad. But the eye test tells you last year, not only was Drummond hurt a lot, only played 40 games when he was out there, just not quite as good as 7 points and 7 rebounds you think would look for a backup center. Just didn't do a whole lot making an impact on the game, and defensively really wasn't that good either. Plus, you got Adem Bona waiting here in the wings as this new backup center, and you drafted Janai Broom as well. I really like Adem Bona. I think he might already be a better player this season than Andre Drummond will be. Drummond's had a great career, of course. Bona still has a ways to go. but I love his physical tools. He's a young player, a very good defender. He's been playing pretty well in Eurobasket as well. So I don't really see a need to keep Andre Drummond. I've been wanting to trade him for quite a while now. Now, when we talk about moving these guys, right, the Sixers want to clear up money. So you're not trading Drummond in his $5 million salary for another player making the same amount. You're trying to trade him to a team who can take in that cap space, give you literally nothing in return. These are the only 5 teams that are able to take in a player without sending any money back. I think Brooklyn and Utah make a ton of sense as teams that would be willing to take on a contract like Andre Drummond, and then the Sixers would probably have to give them a second-round pick in order to take on that salary, and that's it. Philly gets nothing back. You send out Drummond, you send out 1 second-round pick, you clear up the money, and you're able to sign Quentin Grimes and stay under that first apron, right? So watch out for Brooklyn, watch out for Utah as some teams that you could look to move Drummond for. Now, when it comes to Kelly Oubre, I can't get behind trading Kelly Oubre and getting nothing in return. Now, look, I've talked about trading Oubre in the past, right? I'm not against the idea of just straight up trading Kelly Oubre. I've suggested it and drawn up multiple trades in the past to get Oubre off this team in exchange for a different forward. Excuse me. Woo! And look, he just doesn't fit perfectly in terms of the ideal forward you would want on your basketball team because of the lack of three-point shooting and the inconsistent offensive play he's shown. But there's just no need, in my opinion, to dump Kelly Oubre for nothing. He's a good enough player, especially on the defensive side of the ball. He gives you enough energy-wise. He's a fan favorite. He's not the kind of guy you trade for literally nothing in return, right? So I just don't see the need to move on from him like Drummond in order just to free up some money for Grimes. And if you trade away Drummond, that gives you $16-ish million under the first apron. That's plenty to bring back Grimes. So I'll give you my prediction on what I think happens here with Drummond, with Grimes, with Oubre in just a minute. But first, guys, a great deal I got to tell you about because it is exclusive today only. You can get a bunch of really sick Sixers gear, whether that's jerseys, hats, hoodies, shirts, you name it. Anything you might want. A ton of items are on sale now, but today only, you can get 25% off on a bunch of these items if you use the code APPLE at chatsports.com/76ers sale. Again, that's chatsports.com/76ers sale. Use the code APPLE. You can get 25% off, but that is today, Monday, September 8th only. So take advantage while you still can. All right, here is my prediction. I think with these rumors on trading Oubre, trading Drummond, I think the Sixers do end up keeping Kelly Oubre. I think they end up trading Andre Drummond to clear up some money. They have about $16 million under that first apron, and then Grimes gets about $14 million on his new contract. So who do you think gets traded in this scenario? I'm going just Andre Drummond, but you let me know. Type AD for Drummond, KO for Kelly Oubre. If you think both of them get traded, type B down in the comment section. Get your voices heard, get your opinions heard right here on the show. Now, coming up next, we got to talk about it. I didn't want to talk too much about Ben Simmons, but look, a pretty big story. It's been happening over the last few days. Is this the end for Ben Simmons and his NBA career? Because reports are really starting to swirl that Simmons could retire from the NBA. He's not even 30 years old yet, and his NBA career could be almost over. It's crazy to kind of go back and think about everything that's going on with him back in Philly, then to Brooklyn, then to LA, and he could be done here pretty soon. Here is Stefan Bondy of the New York Post, what Stefan had to say regarding Ben Simmons and possible retirement. Simmons has generated interest from the Knicks and another team, but is also questioning whether he even wants to continue playing in the NBA next season, the Post has learned. The former All-Star and Rookie of the Year, who has struggled recently with injuries and handling the public pressures of the league, is an option for the Knicks because of his upside as an elite defender, an athlete to fill their backup point guard spot, as a league source said. However, this is where things get a little bit crazy. Simmons, who accumulated DMPs the past few seasons and over $200 million in career earnings, is sending a message that he isn't sure if he wants to continue, another source added. And then Mark Stein added on to some of this report and said, as Ben Simmons decides his next career steps, his agent Bernie Lee has formally removed himself from the union's ledger as Simmons' agent. And then Stein also added as well that Simmons passed on a one-year deal with the Knicks. So could this be the end for Ben Simmons? With all the rumors we've been hearing recently about him possibly retiring from the NBA, it just gets me thinking, how will Ben Simmons be remembered in his NBA career? And when I think back on his time with the Sixers, obviously, it started off very highly. And it started off with a lot of highs, but it ended with a lot of lows. And look, we know where he's at this point in his career. He brought a lot of great memories to Sixers fans early on, but some disappointing playoff performances and obviously a lot of drama there. So how will he be remembered? To me, I think just disappointing is really the word I would use to describe Ben Simmons' career. And it's a shame because he had a lot of talent, just never really able to put it all together. And now he might be retiring from the NBA. Give me one word, Sixers fans. How will you remember Ben Simmons if this is it? If he is retiring, how will you remember Ben Simmons' NBA career? Let me know down in the comment section, and we'll catch you next time right here on the show.